Hey y'all, Teanna Branae here, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. I know. I'm not even, like I told y'all last time, I'm not even going to tell y'all, okay, I'm going to try to be more consistent. I give up. But anyways, I'm back. We're going to have a story time today. So, I figured I would tell you all the story of my first college experience. Just because my sisters and I all think that the story is funny. So I said, oh, I might as well come tell y'all because why not? And I know I look crusty, who cares? So, backstory. For those of you who do not know, I do have a bachelor's degree from Eastern Michigan University with a focus in finance. It's a bachelor's of business administration. However, before attending Eastern Michigan University, I went to Bowling Green State University to be specific. And so I was really excited about going there. I want to say I went August of 2011. I want to say it was definitely 2011, but I want to say it was August, like the last week of August or something along those lines. Because I started school like a week before everybody else started, if I'm not mistaken. Because it was in a different state. But it was like a week before schools in Michigan started, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so it was August, it was 2011. And originally, I want to say I went to go to Grand Valley. And it's a school here in Michigan. And people were telling me, like, Teanna, I know you think because you're in Michigan that you're close, but Grand Valley is kind of far. Like, GVSU is kind of far away. That's what my family was telling me. So I'm like, you know what, cool, whatever. I will go to Bowling Green because it's only like, I think Bowling Green was like 2 hours away from us. It was so long ago, but I feel like it was like 2 hours. So in my mind, I was like, it's not that far. Perfect, I'll go there. And so I was so excited. I got in, of course, after I applied. And I remember that whole summer, I was super duper excited. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to go to school. I can't wait to leave. I can't wait to go to school. I was involved with like some trash guy. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to be gone away from him. Like, I was like ready to go. And so the day comes where it is time for me to go. Now, mind y'all, I had went to orientation to take like my student ID. I opened a bank account at the bank on campus. Like, I was ready. So this was orientation maybe a month prior or so. I don't remember the timeline. I know it was summer of 2011. So it's time for me to go to school. Y'all, me, my grandmother, I want to say, one of my sisters, and my mom packed up my mom's car, and we drove down. And the whole time, my sister and I are sitting in the back seat, I'm just getting like more and more nervous. Like, the excitement is just wearing off, and I'm just starting to like freak out in my head. Like, I'm starting to freak out. So I'm trying to hold it together. Like, my sister's asking me if I'm okay. Everybody's all like, are you all right? Are you all right? I'm fine. But my sister, because she's my sister, can tell like she's not fine. So she's like trying to, it's gonna be okay, Teanna, it's gonna be okay. And the whole time I'm just like having like this internal battle of like, I ain't feeling it. I thought I was feeling it. I ain't feeling it. So we're on the freeway. I forgot which freeway. Y'all, look, this is like 10 years ago now. So we're on the freeway, and I just remember seeing Bowling Green State University on one of the, freeway signs or whatever, the markers or whatever. And so I just started bawling. Like, I'm full out crying in the back seat. So in between my sister and I, it was some of my stuff. Because, we packed up the back seat, packed up the trunk. So she's like holding my hand. I think it was my refrigerator sitting between us. So she's like holding my hand across the top of the refrigerator. Like, we're sitting, both of our hands on the refrigerator like this. And she's holding my hand like, it's going to be okay, Nani. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I'm just crying. My grandma and my mom, it's all right. It's all right. They're making jokes about it. Like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. We get there. I check in. We move me in. And like, oh, Teanna, it's nice. It's nice. It's nice. And I'm still like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. But I'm trying to like make the best of the situation. So I'm trying not to freak out. Okay? I'm trying not to freak out. But I already am crying. So after they move us in, across the street, I forgot what dorm I was in. But across the street from my dorm was a McDonald's. So we get back in my mom's car. We go across the street. My mom buys us all McDonald's. Or was it my grandma? Somebody bought us all McDonald's. And I had to walk back across the street with my food because the parking lots were packed. My mom was like, we're just going to say goodbye to you here in this parking lot. Can you make it back across the street by yourself? I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I gave everybody a hug, said our goodbyes, whatever. I'm walking across the street back to my dorm, beyond sad. Like, I was not feeling it. I was not feeling it. And I was so excited to go, but I was not feeling it. I get back in my dorm, and I get the same thing from McDonald's every time I go to McDonald's. Even today, my order does not change. I had a Sprite and the #1 with no cheese. So my big bag and my fries are in my bag, and I'm trying to hold the drink, and I'm trying to get in the door. And as soon as I get the door open, my pop just falls. It spills all over the dorm room carpet. So I had to take one of my brand new towels and like try to sop up the pop stain. And I just literally fell onto the floor and broke out crying. Like, I just started crying. Like, I just felt like this is just symbolism. Like, this all means that like my world is over. Like, my world is just crashing. Like, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. So my pop is gone. So I had some snacks in my fridge. Like, my mom had and my grandma pitched in. They bought me like Capri Suns, stuff to make sandwiches, like stuff to get me through that first weekend until my meal plan kicked in, basically. So I pull out a little Capri Sun or a water bottle or something I had, and I'm sitting on the bed eating my food. My roommate comes in. She's like, oh, hi, I remember her name. I'm not gonna say her name. Let's say her name was Susan, but I do know what her name was. I'm just not gonna say it. So I'm like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And she steps in the pop stain. And she's like, oh no, why is the carpet wet? And I'm like, I don't know. It was like that when I got here. And I'm like, I don't know why it's wet. Because I didn't want to tell her that I spilled my pop. Like, I didn't want to make a bad first impression. So, she stopped in, and I think she just changed her clothes and left. Because she was a cheerleader. She was a freshman. And it was her first year there too. But she had been at Bowling Green all summer because she was a cheerleader. So she had her friend group. Like, we were not going to be hanging out. And that just was that. So she came, changed her clothes, and left. And I just stayed in the room that whole first day, calling people. And I remember, I think that first night, I called my dad crying. And I'm like, Dad, can you please come get me? Can you please come get me? He's like, no, Teanna, just try to stick it out. This is what you wanted to do. You wanted to go there. I'm not coming to get you. And I'm like, Dad, I don't like it. Dad, I hate it. And I'm like on the phone boo-hooing. I absolutely hated it. And he's like, you know, give it a semester. Just give it a semester. You at least got to give it a chance. Like, because I was ready to go the first day. He's like, just give it a chance. Just give it a chance. So then I remember I had some friends from high school, and we all had made this pact that we were going to have like weekend, like I think we said Sundays. Every Sunday we were going to have like group Skype calls and Uvu. Is it Uvu? Is that how you pronounce it? We're going to have like group calls on Skype every weekend. That after that first couple of weekends, it didn't happen. Like, but this was the plan that we made. And so one of the friends, she called me because once again, I left before all of my friends because all of my friends were staying and going to different schools around Michigan. So they hadn't started school yet. I was the first one leaving. And so she called, and we were on Skype on my laptop, and she's like, let me see your dorm. And she was so excited. And so I remember showing her, and she's like, oh, it's so cute. How do you feel? Is it exciting? I'm like, I want to come home. And I'm like, it's okay. It'll be fine. It's all right. It's nothing special. But I was like, not feeling it. I was not feeling it. And then I remember my dad had my sisters calling me, like, to try to cheer me up. And I don't even think it was that I just absolutely hated the school. I think it was just none of my friends were there. The few people from my high school who did end up there, I was never friends with them. So I never would have a reason to want to hang out. Like I didn't think, oh, I have like 5 other people from my high school here, we're gonna hang out. I never thought that. Like, I knew I was going to a city where I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anybody. And my sisters and I are all really close. And so I think that was what it was. I'm like, oh, what is Tanasia doing? What is TT doing? What is Tay doing? Like, what are they doing? And I was here by myself. And so I did not like it. My dad had my sisters calling me that whole week, like, to check on me and try to cheer me up, because I would literally call my dad every day crying, asking him to come get me. And my mom, she told me before I left, you know, Teanna, once you go, you're gone. Like, this is your decision. You're gone once you're gone. And so I couldn't call her. So I was calling my dad every day, and I literally cried to him every day. My grandma would call me, my aunt would call me, and I would just cry. Like, I don't want to be here. I want to come home. And so I remember that whole first week of classes, I was sitting in class miserable. I was so miserable. And I remember I didn't know how financial aid worked. So I had I'm not the oldest of my siblings. I had an older sister, but she went to school in state. So I didn't understand how out-of-state tuition worked. I got a notice, and let's say I moved in on a Friday, I think. I moved in on a Saturday, or we're gonna say Friday. Let's say I moved in Friday, I moved out the next Friday. That's what it was. I moved in on a Friday. I'm lying. I moved in on a Saturday, I think. By that next Saturday, I was going home. So I got a notice from financial aid, and it basically said, and mind you, I was already miserable. Like, I didn't have no money. My meal plan was, okay, look, I was miserable. Period. I was miserable. So I would go into the little cafeteria, eatery area, and eat by myself. I didn't talk to people. The few girls that I did make friends with, I had to stop hanging with them because they would, like, go smoke every night. They would go smoke cigarettes and stuff every night at the back of the dorms. I don't smoke. If you know me, you know I've never smoked a day in my life. So after I realized that that's what they would go outside and do, I stopped hanging out with I stopped hanging out with them. Like, if you smoke, I can't be around you when you smoke it. I don't care. I'm sorry. That's not my ministry. So I got a notice from financial aid on Thursday, maybe, and it basically said, you still owe your out-of-state tuition. Either pay your tuition or your meal plan is at risk. So I called my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I got this notice. I don't know what this means. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And obviously, you know, if you've gone to college, traditionally you use your parents' income tax for your financial aid when you fill out your financial aid online. So I'm calling my mom because that's who I use. I'm like, Mama, I don't know what to do. And she's like, call your sister. I'm calling Teannasia. She's like, I don't deal with this, Teanna, because Teannasia's my older sister, for reference. I don't deal with this, Teanna. I'm not out of state. I don't know what to tell you. You need to call financial aid and find out what you need to do so that you don't lose your financial aid, basically. So I called financial aid, and they basically told me, you either, and I think I owed, like, it was like $4,000, maybe $4,000 to $5,000, and they were like, you either pay it or your parent could take out the little Parent Plus loan or whatever, and they pay it through that. So I called my mom back and I told her what my options were. Well, okay, wait, backtrack. So when they told me this, I got so excited because I had been plotting all week on how I could get out of this situation because I did not want to be at that school. So when they told me you either pay the money or your parent could take out a loan, because there was no way I could get it. I could not get an increase in my financial aid, but my parent, because they got a Parent Plus loan to increase my financial aid. And when they told me that, I'm like, oh, I'm out of here. I can go home. My mama's not about to take out no loan for me. I can go home. So after they told me this, I put my sad face back on like this was the hardest news that I had ever received in my life. And I call my mama, Mama, and I'm like, you know, you got to drum it up. And I'm like, Ma, they told me the only way I could do this, I could stay, is if I come up with this money or you take out a loan for me. And she was like, I'm not taking out a loan for you. Drop your classes. I'll be there in the morning. This was a Friday when I called financial aid. Because I remember her saying, drop your classes. I'll be there in the morning. Because that next morning was Saturday. Y'all, I called back financial aid. I said, I need to drop my classes. I need to withdraw from everything. And I don't remember how many credits I had. I think I had like 13 credits maybe. That's like a normal amount. I dropped all my classes that Friday. I packed all my bags back up. And mind you, I hadn't really been seeing my roommate. Like, she would pop in and go to sleep, but she would be gone before I woke up. And she would be, by the time she came back, I would be asleep. So I had packed all my stuff back up and it was just sitting in bags by the door. And so she came in and she's like, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, I'm going home. And she was like, oh, was it me? Is it because I wasn't here? And I mean, it wasn't her fault. She was a cheerleader, like, but it was kind of sad that I didn't really have a real roommate. Like, I didn't get to have that first roommate experience, which shout out to my freshman roommate from Eastern, because she made up for it. We had a great friendship and we still have, we're still friends, but it was so I was like, no, it's not you. I'm just not happy here. I'm just going home. Like, I wasn't going to tell her, like, I ain't got no money for this place. I got to go. Bye. So she's like, oh, it's nice to meet you. You know, she was also from Michigan. She was from Dearborn, I believe. It was Dearborn, Dearborn Heights. Anyway, she's from Dearborn. And so we was like, well, you know, we can still hang out. We not finna hang out, girl. We haven't hung out the whole week we've been here together. We not finna hang out. But this is what we're gonna tell each other. So I packed all my stuff up. That next morning, my mama called me like, I'm outside. I went to the front desk, and if y'all have ever moved into a dorm, they give you like these big rolly buckets, basically. I went and rented one of those, loaded it back up just like I loaded it when I moved in. I loaded it back up and took my stuff to my mama's car. And it's so crazy because I think in that 1 week, literally in 1 week, I had lost like 10 pounds. My mom saw me and she was like, you look depressed and sick. Like, I just did not look good. I had lost so much weight that 1 week. I have never been that small in my life. I looked bad. I looked so bad. So my mom came and got me. We went back home and she was like, all right, Teanna, we tried it your way, which was Bowling Green. It did not work out. So now you gotta go to Eastern. The reason she said I had to go to Eastern was because that's where my older sister went. And it's clear Teanna don't want to be by herself. So okay, another backstory. I had applied to Eastern when I applied to Bowling Green originally. But I don't know if it's still the same way when you apply to schools, but then you had to tell schools if you didn't plan on coming. You couldn't just ignore the fact that they accepted your offer, that they accepted you. You would have to say, oh, thank you, but I'm not, like, they would send you little postcards and they would say if they didn't hear from you by a certain date, they would send postcards and yes, no, maybe so, basically, and you had to circle whether or not you were coming. So I already had told Eastern I was not coming. And so by the time I got back home, I think Eastern was about to start classes the week after I got back home or something like that. So it wasn't a situation where I could just go to the, like, okay, I'm ready, I'm back. So I had to reapply to Eastern, and I basically sat out that whole first semester of 2011. So that fall of 2011 semester, I didn't go to school. And I was so sad because all of my friends were at school. And I remember they were like calling me or texting me and letting me know how their first semester was going, about the college parties and all that stuff. And I was so mad. Like, here I am sitting at home doing nothing. So, like I said, I had applied to Eastern again. I got in. I just was waiting for January to come for me to go. So I was only at home like 4 months. January comes, I go to Eastern. All is well, all is better, all is whole. But that 1 week I spent at Bowling Green was probably the worst week of my life. I was so depressed. It was really sad. And then eventually I went to Eastern, had fun, had some not fun times, graduated, and here I am today. But it was not a great experience at Bowling Green. And it was only 7 days, y'all. But it was not a great experience. That's my story time. Let me know what y'all think. Or if y'all have any terrible college experiences down below, let me know. And I'll talk to y'all in the next video.